Hello, it's the Imperfect Gardener here, and I want to show you what I'm doing with my corn to thin it out. And I decided I could save some of the thinnings and plant them somewhere else. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. This year I had decided, my main plot's over here. Oh, the sun's coming out over there. I'm still in the shade, it's nice. And the breeze is blowing, so I'm sorry if it's a little windy on here. I don't have anything to help you with that wind noise, sorry about that. But at any rate, I had decided I would add on to the garden this little patch right here, which I did this year, to do corn. Well, it's not little, actually. It's a pretty big patch. And I got some sunflowers planted here along the edge. But all of this is corn. The first 2 rows of corn I had started indoors. And, had a little success with that. I'm like, okay, I'll put these out here, the ones that grew. And then I started these other 2 rows from seed. And they're growing like gangbuster. I always put them closer than I need them because I honestly have found that corn doesn't always grow for you the way you want it to. Some of the seeds don't grow. Wow, this year they all grew. I've already taken some out of this row to thin it out just now. And I'm going to show you what I decided to do. It looked like this row a minute ago. See all these? Those are way too close together. Okay, the ones back there, I've got about 12 inches in between each plant. Don't mind the weeds, imperfect gardening, weeds, they grow. So I've got close to 12 inches between each of these. What I did is I went through and thinned this row to kind of match the rows behind it, so they're about 12 inches apart. And I'm going to show you this one here is still just tons and tons and tons. Some of these are only 2 inches apart. That's not going to work. I want them to have a little more space to grow and do a nice job for me this year. But I hate throwing all these corns away. They're beautiful. So I said, hey, I'm going to do a quick fix. It may work and it may not. Now, here's the good news. If it doesn't work, if they don't do real well, it doesn't matter because it took me about an hour yesterday. Between yesterday and today, I've spent about an hour working on this. So, hey, by the time I'm done, maybe it'll be an hour and a half. Even if it was 2 hours, who cares? It's worth it to me, all right? I went over here and I grabbed my rototiller, and this was grass, just like this kind of grass over here, like your lawn. I just grabbed the rototiller and I just tilled a little bit of the grass under. It's not a perfect job. There's a lot of grass still in there. It's going to pop up and grow and whatever. I don't care. I'll come through with my hoe and knock it down, or I'll stomp on it or something. I think the corn will grow in there anyway, even though this hasn't been perfectly tilled. And just to give it a try, what I did then is I did that. I actually considered putting plastic down over the whole thing and then digging holes and putting the corn in. And I even laid some plastic down, but dang, I just didn't like how it looked. And the ground's all uneven, and it'd be too hard to come in and put the compost and all the stuff. So I said, forget that. I pulled the plastic up. And instead, I just went through and I just took my shovel, my big shovel, don't get dizzy, that one. And I just dug holes a foot apart in my rows. And I ended up with big enough space to do four plants, and I got 5 rows here because I went ahead and did an extra row next to where these sunflowers are, so it'll go along here. So that's got another 4 times 5, another 20 more corn that are going to grow over here. They would be thrown away because they can't be this close together. So we're going to see if they work or not. If they don't, whatever. If they do, awesome. If they don't, yeah, whatever. You got to try stuff. And you don't have to be perfect. So I'm shoving them in the ground. And I'm going to take some compost when I'm done and sprinkle it around because I haven't even put any kind of composted manure or anything in here. So I'm going to do that after I get them all on the ground. Or if I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow because I've been working out here already a couple hours this morning on some other projects. So let me just show you how I did it. I started down here and I went along. And I looked at where my, other plants were, and I started pulling stuff out. So here's a corn here. I think there's a good space between these two already, this one and this one. So I'm going to take some of these out in the middle. And all I did is just take your shovel, put it in a little bit far from the plant, dig in there with your little shovel, and pry these up a little. And next thing you know, they're a little loose. You can reach in there and get under there and get this baby and try to get the roots. And you'll see that I've got quite a bit of roots here coming up with that. All right. And even if I shook it, you would see there's a lot of roots there. A couple of weeds, but there's a lot of roots. So I want to keep the roots intact nicely. I'm going to take off the weeds. Excuse me. I don't need weeds on there. There we go. Now there's your roots. That's some good roots on that lovely ear of corn. I'm going to just keep taking some of these out. And I just went down the row doing this and leaving them, 12 inches apart or so. I could probably move this one too and keep that one. That would be more like 12 inches. But just get down enough in here that you're pulling out some of the roots. You don't want to just yank these out of here when they're this. If they're smaller, you could probably yank them out and plant them somewhere and they'd be fine. But these roots are getting pretty well established now. And if I just pulled that out, I would lose most of these roots. So I'm going to keep my roots, or, roots as we say here. And people have bothered me lately and made me say roots. Now I say roots instead of roots, which is how we normally say it here in Michigan, at least how I do. They're roots. Pardon me. Some kind of allergen growing out here, who would have known? So then I'm just bringing these over carefully. And where I have my spot, I'll show you one. Hard to do with one hand though, because I wish I had my iPad I could set up, but darn if I didn't break the screen. I'm worried about using it till I get it fixed. Anyhow, if you put this down in so that the top of it is level with the ground, but see, I dug it farther enough down that my roots are down in the ground, and the dirt's just going to come in around them. Instead of squashing the roots, I'm letting those roots grow a little bit, okay? So, we're going to, it takes 2 hands. I'm going to see if I can do this with, hold it up like how this, but since I can't, because I'm doing this. And yeah, there's some grass here. I'm throwing grass back in. Oh, well, shame on me. You know what? Imperfect world. You know what I'm saying? It's an imperfect world. I'm just doing this to see if I can extend, because I'm greedy. I see all those corn growing. I'm like, I don't want to kill those. And look, I could have 20 more ears growing. So I'm greedy. So I'm trying it. Could I have totally cleared this land better and spent a day doing that? Possibly. But I'm a busy woman. I don't have time for all that. So there that is. And I stick it in there. You can even give a little stomp around it if you want. By the way, I already put some water in that hole first. I took my hose and I sprayed some water down in each of these holes to get damp. Then I put these in. And then I'm going to go along and keep doing the rest of these. And then I'll show you how it looks. Be watering them. It's the Imperfect Gardener here, back to show you how this corn is doing. This is where I just had transplanted. I said I'd show you when I got it all in the ground. I'll just add that onto the video. So here the corn is. I've got 20 more plants in here that would have been gone and dead as I thinned that out. And I just decided, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Now, we'll see what happens. I know there'll be some grass growing up around them. Honestly, in an imperfect world, I could have let some of that grass grow and just every once in a while come in and rip it out when it gets to be, about a full tall right before it goes to seed. I could start ripping that grass out at that point. Who knows? Or I could, I don't know, for a little while I could get the weed whacker in here without hitting the corn, I bet you, and just knock down some grass if it grows up. But we'll see what happens. The good news is those corn would have been gone to nothing, and now I'm going to see if they'll grow. And that just increased my corn growth area by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had like 10 by 4, which is 40. So I've planted half again what I had before. So that's cool. Now I've going to have like 60 plants of corn. We get some nice ears of corn this year. Yay! Look at that breeze. There it is. Oh, by the way, I put some compost manure, peat moss and compost manure is what this is, around it, kind of. Heck, I was going to, I like to do little circles around it. Yeah, I'm too tired today. I need to get in. I worked so hard yesterday, so it didn't really get circles around, just got dumped. Some little piles of it dumped around it, and then I watered it real well, and the water's soaking into the ground now, as you can see. And that's going to help them get settled, and it's going to bring that, the nutrients from that compost is going to go down in the ground as it rains more even. So, we'll see how they do. I'm excited. Have fun gardening.